I was typing to you. I forgot I can just talk. Welcome, Jackal. Good to see you. Um, Jackal, if you can send me a link just to your YouTube profile, like in Discord. Looks like the White House is on.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We're facing an inflection point in history. One of those moments where the decisions we make today determine the future for decades to come. That's what I'd like to talk to you about. Early this morning, I returned from Israel. At the time, I'm the first American president to travel there during the war. I met with the Prime Minister and members of his cabinet. Most movingly, I met with Israelis who personally witnessed the horrific horror of the attacks by Hamas destruction operation. More than 1,300 people slaughtered in Israel, including at least 33 American citizens. Scores of innocents, infants, elderly, grandmothers, Israeli terrorists taken hostage. Like all the families of Americans being held captive by Hamas, we're pursuing every avenue to bring the government down. As president, there is no higher priority for me than the safety of America's fellow Africans. Terrorist group Hamas unleashed pure unadulterated evil in Israel, but sadly, anyone, but there is no limit to the depravity of people when they're not on the anyone.
Sorry.
In Israel, I saw people who are strong, determined, resilient, and also angry, shocked, and in deep, deep pain. I also spoke with President Abbas, the Palestinian Authority, and reiterated the United States remains committed to the Palestinian people's right to dignity and to self-determination. The actions were
Is that better, Jeff?
United States and our allies withdraw, and if the United States withdraw, our allies will as well. Military support to Ukraine would have, quote, a week left to live, but we're not withdrawing. I know these conflicts can seem far away. It's natural to ask, why does this matter to Americans? So let me share with you why making sure Israel and Ukraine succeed is vital for America's national security. You know, history has taught us that when terrorists don't pay a price for their terror, when dictators don't pay a price for their government, they cause more chaos and death, more destruction. History's shown us the cost and the threat American values are what make us a partner that other nations want to work with. But all that is them turn our backs on Israel. It's not working. That's why tomorrow I'm going to turn to Congress, urging President Trump to fund America's national security needs, support our critical partners including Israel and Ukraine, and all the investments that pay dividends to American citizens for generations. Help us keep American troops out of harm's way. Help us build a world that is safe for more frequent and more prosperous for our children and grandchildren. In Israel, we should make sure that they have what they need to protect their people today and always. Security factors aren't spending in Congress, they're massive science. There's an unprecedented commitment to Israel's security that will sharpen Israel's qualitative military edge, information and qualitative military edge. We're going to make sure Iron Dome continues to develop and size over Israel. We're going to make sure other hostile actors in the region know that Israel is stronger than ever and prevent this conflict from spreading. So, at the same time,
Oh, really?
President Netanyahu and I discussed again yesterday the critical need to
So
resolve
when I'm not talking right now, can you hear it?
protecting civilians and combating terrorists in Israel. And the people of Gaza urgently need food, warmth, and medicine. Yesterday, in discussions with the leaders of Israel and Egypt, I secured an agreement for the first shipment of humanitarian assistance from the United Nations to Palestinian civilians fleeing Gaza. Hamas has not divert or steal this shipment. We're going to provide an opening for sustained delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians. As I said in Egypt, as hard as it is, we cannot give up on peace. We cannot give up on peaceful solutions. Israel and the Palestinians equally deserve the first vision of the future. You know, here at home, we have to be honest with ourselves. In recent years, too much hate has been given too much oxygen, and vehement racism has arrived at unintended
Damn.
consequences,
Okay.
especially in America. It's also intensified this wave of recent events and has led to the horrific threats from attacks that say, stop us, break our hearts. On October 7th, a terror attack had triggered deep scars and terrible memories of human beings. Today, Jewish families worry about being targeted in school, wearing symbols of their faith, walking down the street. There's only one to stop their daily lives. And I know many of you in the Muslim world, the Arab world, the Palestinian world, and so many others are outraged because of this strange, eerie event of Islamophobia, death we saw on 9/11. Just last week, many of you understand, little boy, here in the United States, little boy just turned 6 years old, murdered in a Walmart parking lot. This man, like me, was a proud American, proud Palestinian refugee. We can't turn a blind eye to the tragedy. We must, as Christians, Islamists, and Muslims, we must also unite against this massive Islamophobia. So all you Muslim Christians want to know at peace, you belong. You are not invaders. We're all Americans. All
Did that
Christians.
change anything?
This should be the moment where we tune our nose and when anger and rage run hard. We have to work harder than ever to hold on to values that make us who we are. We're a nation of religious freedom, freedom of expression. We all have a right to be safe. Allow fear being started in schools and workplaces in our communities. We must renounce violence and vitriol. Accuse each other not of vendettas, but of fellow Americans. What would happen if we walked away? We are the essential nation. Meanwhile, Putin has turned to Iran and North Korea.
I don't know if that worked, but let me know. That's so weird. Even right now? Hmm. Well, I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Alright, so that was Biden speaking. Uh, he said exactly what we expected him to say. He's going to ask for more money from Congress in support of Israel. It's going to be another aid package like we've sent to Ukraine in the past. Except this time it's going to be split between the two countries. Now, a lot of people were guessing that after this speech, Israel would start their invasion of Gaza. So we'll have to see if that happens. I don't see anything that he said actually changing anything. Uh, we're just gonna have to see. Let's see. So we're gonna go through a few things here. Okay, so this is the El Hamas synagogue in Tunisia. The Crown burned it down yesterday. There's like literally nothing left of it. Like what in, like possesses someone to go and do this much damage to just a building? That's basically all it is. I mean, I know it's a synagogue, but it's just a place where people go. It's not a, you know. Alright, so moving on from that. This was posted by Graham Allen. Hold on just a second. I've got something coming through. I hope y'all can't hear it. Oh my god, where is it coming from? Alright, give me just a second. I gotta figure out where this is coming from. All right, sorry about that, guys. Um, so I'm gonna go down my list here of news, and then I'm gonna go back to x.com and go through those, and then we'll do uh, the map briefings for today. Okay, so the House Foreign Affairs Committee chairman has already prepared a bill to allow the U.S. military to get involved militarily. It hasn't been passed into law. They've just prepared it. So if Iran decides to jump off and respond to Israel, that bill is already ready to go. They'll sign it into law, and then President Biden can immediately send troops. Or, you know, we've already got troops there, so even better. The U.S. Navy shot down 3 missiles and some drones. The ship that shot them down was in the northern Red Sea. The missiles were launched from Yemen by Houthi rebels, and the USS Carney intercepted them and shot them down. So the Houthi rebels shot the missiles out of Yemen. Uh, they weren't able to tell if they were headed for the U.S. ship or towards Israel. So that's undetermined at the moment, but they were shot down, and the Carney is still standing by to intercept any other missiles that are shot. Last night, a U.S. base in Syria was attacked by rockets, resulting in coalition force casualties. And 2 U.S. bases in Iraq were attacked last night. The Al Assad Air Base, which is gigantic. Um, so it came under attack, and U.S. troops there sheltered in place, but no rockets ever actually hit the base. The other base was in northern Iraq, near Bashir Air Base. They had drone intercepts with no casualties. Uh, so Secretary Austin was in contact with foreign government officials all day today. He spoke with the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, uh, and Israel's Ministry of Defense. Planes are continuously landing in Israel from the U.S. C-17 Galaxies. It's a constant stream at this point. This is big right here. U.S. State Department issues worldwide travel warning to all U.S. citizens. So they're basically saying don't travel outside of the U.S. if you can help it. And if you do, you need to be very careful. That comes following travel advisories for Lebanon and Jordan, I believe, at this point. And then we spoke about the presidential address already. Let's go back to X. This is pretty interesting. So these are Iraqi volunteers getting on a bus to be transported to fight in Israel. And this is happening in multiple Arab countries, not just Iraq. And look at all these buses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 5 right there. 6, 7. At least 7 buses that I can see in this one video. So this is in Iraq. Volunteers loading up on buses to be transported to Israel to fight. Insane. Alright, this is in Barcelona, Spain. A massive protest happening tonight. Look at all those people. And these are Palestinian protest or in support of Palestine. Alright, next we're going to go to War Daily News. This is a protest in Jordan. This is actually on the border. of Israel right here. The police and military have blockaded the area, trying to keep the protesters back. And this is just one location in Jordan. There's multiple of these going on. Alright, so that brings us to the war map for Israel. We're going to start down here in the Red Sea, near the Gulf of Aden. This here is Yemen, this country right here. And this is showing the USS Carney. It's probably not its exact position, but this is where the rockets were fired from, and the Carney shot them down en route. So you can see where the confusion comes from a little bit. The rockets were fired from south of where the ship is, heading in the direction of Israel. So they can't say at this point whether it was, aimed at the U.S. ship or Israel, or another location for that matter. Saudi Foreign Minister, the Security Council must fulfill its responsibility to achieve ceasefire and lift siege in Gaza. Out of Qatar, we raise the Arab and Islamic position, especially the Egyptian one, toward the issue of excuse me, the issue of the displacement of Palestine. So they're praising Egypt's stance on Palestine. And that's Qatar. That's a little surprising because Egypt's stance is that they do not want any Palestinian refugees at all. Same with Jordan. Both of those countries, which are neighbors of Israel, Egypt being a neighbor of the Gaza Strip, both have come out publicly that they don't want any of the Palestinians in their country. And that brings up a point. Why would we want to bring in the Palestinians to the U.S. if countries of the same religion in the same region won't take these people in? Why would we do that? We have congressmen right now proposing that very thing, bringing in 1 million Palestinians to the United States. That it's just nuts to me. I don't understand it. Okay, the Jordan foreign minister, our priorities are to stop the war immediately because it will not achieve security or peace. And he says that in Egypt. So the foreign minister of Jordan went to Egypt today and met with the president of Egypt, and they made a dual statement that they don't want any Palestinians and that the war needs to end immediately. And Jackal, you're exactly right. We are not good at vetting. We don't even know, we've got upwards of 2 million unidentified immigrants in our country right now. So how are we supposed to take in these million people right now to get them out of this war zone and vet them properly? That's exactly right. Alright, so dozens of trucks loaded with aid are waiting to enter Gaza through the Rafah crossing. This is the crossing that the UN sent the fuel on a couple days ago. Let's see next. The Palestinian Red Crescent, which is the equivalent of the American American Red Cross. We demand safe passage into Gaza as soon as possible. So they're waiting on the border too. Red alert. Let's see. Okay, this is 1 minute ago. Biden says I reached an agreement with Egypt and Israel to send the first shipment of humanitarian aid into Gaza. And he may have said that in his address, but I didn't hear it. Alright, let's see. More Israeli bombings. Here's a big cloud of concrete dust, basically, from that bombing. Right in the middle of the street. All the people are rushing towards it to render aid, it looks like. Or to stage another, mass casualty event. This looks like it might be from the same bombing. Possibly it could be another bombing. Alright. The Ministry of Interior in Gaza, 10 people were killed and others injured in an Israeli bombing that targeted a residential building. There's going to be a lot of that, and already has been. Alright, so we're now in the North Gaza Strip. This is north of the Wadi. Um, so the area that Israel told them to evacuate. Intensive Israeli raids targeting Shujaiya neighborhood in Gaza. I'm guessing those are air raids, not ground. Intense raids targeting the same or a neighboring neighborhood. Dozens injured, directly targeted the church of Paul Morpheus. So this is a different church that was hit from yesterday. Casualties after aircraft bombing a house in East Gaza. 4 hospitals in the Strip are out of service due to Israeli bombing. That's a Gaza health spokesperson. Right. Palestinian media reports that Jihad Muhaysin, head of the National Security Forces in the Gaza Strip, was killed in a strike on the Sheikh Radwan neighborhood of Gaza City. No comment yet from the Israeli army. So the head of the National Security Forces of Gaza. So one of the top commanders, the Palestinians are saying, have been killed. Alright. Alright. This is interesting out here. So Israeli Navy deploys its submarine fleet across Middle East to prepare for combat scenarios with Iran and Hezbollah. Israel Army bombed Hamas arsenal of unmanned mini-subs. Iron Dome intercepts rockets fired at Israeli gas rig at sea. So the Hamas is firing rockets out to sea to try to hit Israeli natural gas rigs in the Mediterranean. And also, Israel has deployed its navy, its subsurface navy. I just want to look real quick. So Israel has these Dolphin submarines, German made. They have 5, another 1 fitting out. So they've received a 6th from Germany, and they're currently fitting it with equipment. So they've deployed their 5 submarines into into the Mediterranean. Each Dolphin-class submarine is capable of carrying a combined total of up to 16 torpedoes and Popeye torpedoes, submarine-launched cruise missiles. So these are cruise missiles that can be fired out of the torpedo tubes. They have a range of at least 930 miles, which is pretty high, and are widely to be equipped with a 200 kiloton nuclear warhead. So these are nuclear armed subs, apparently, according to Wiki. And we're not going to go into the history or anything. I wanted to go to this. Go to the history. 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 Go to the Well, that's not where it took me to earlier. Oh well. Alright. Let's look at the rest of Israel real quick. U.S. plane arrives carrying a shipment of armored vehicles for the Israeli army. I'm not even sure what kind of armored vehicles those are. This is a C-17 Galaxy. You can see them being loaded on a truck. I'm not sure. They're not, they don't have the V hull, so they're not made for anti-mine or anti-IED blasts, but they are armored. Pretty cool. Right. Alright, in the West Bank, Israeli forces arrest journalist Thayer al-Fakouri from his home in the city of Lebanon. Israel-Palestine war. Israel withdraws diplomats from Turkey over security concerns. Turkey has been gripped by protests and solidarity with Palestinians after Israel went to war in the besieged enclave. That's pretty big. So Israel is cutting all diplomatic ties with Turkey is basically what that means. You pull your diplomats out, you have no more political ties with them. Rocket fire on Tel Aviv again. Red alert in central Tel Aviv. The world must unite to eliminate Hamas, says Netanyahu. 3 Palestinians killed, including 3 youth, by ISF suicide drone attack, which is Israeli security force. Damage from a rocket impact in southern Israel. No injuries reported. Look at all that shrapnel. So that's a pretty big... That's a fairly large crater for a Hamas rocket. Look at all this shrapnel in the cars. It's almost like a grenade went off. But there's not that much damage. Only just to the cars and the road right there. Something's off here. Like, so if the rocket went off right here, why, unless the concrete was like that to begin with. Like, look at this. It almost would have had to been an airburst. An airburst, it would depend on the size, but it's interesting. Alright, moving on. Okay, we did that one. Northern West Bank. Okay, moving up towards the Syrian border. They've been exchanging fire like crazy. Hezbollah will send rockets across, and Israel will send a JDAM back. So it's been going on since the start of this whole deal. But tensions are escalating. The Israelis have evacuated within 2 kilometers of the border with Lebanon, and they have moved a massive force into that 2-kilometer area. And Jackal, yes. So there were protesters in Lebanon yesterday at the embassy, And I haven't heard anything about them being there today, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. One dead and one wounded among the Iranian-Lebanese press team, and they were evacuated by the international UN forces that headed them over to the Lebanese side. I thought the UN forces had all evacuated the area, but apparently not. Israel Army has been launching flares, which is standard operating procedure, especially on a front line, so that they can see what's going on. Lebanon, or not Lebanon, but the Hezbollah has already destroyed 2 radar sites on the border and multiple camera sites, so surveillance of the border. Um, they're most likely trying to soften up the targets so that they can invade at some point. And Hezbollah is set up to have up to 100,000 fighters. You can see here, this is an old picture. Fires started by shelling. Israeli army says 6 rockets launched from Lebanon at northern Israel, 1 intercepted, 5 landed in open area causing no damage. Apparently another anti-tank guided missile was fired and gunfire was heard near Zarit. The Israeli army says it adds that it is responding with artillery shelling. I put out a video on the Iron Dome. I believe it's like 6 minutes long, but it's incredible how advanced that system really is. Like, so you've got these radar sites spread out all over Israel, and if they detect something, they calculate what it is, its trajectory, and then it sends it to like the operating center, which is all automated, and the operating center determines whether it's going to hit in a residential or populated area or not. And if it's not, it just lets it go. And if it is, it sends a command to the battery, and each battery has up to 4 launchers that fire 20 Tamar rockets each, and they have a range up to 43 miles. So, like at one site, say it has 3 launchers, they can intercept 60 missiles being fired into Israel before it needs to be reloaded. And it only takes like 30 minutes to reload a launcher. Like, they come in these MLRS boxes. So once one's empty, they pull the box off, drop a new one in, and it's ready to go. But like when the Hamas attack happened, they shot so many rockets in such a quick succession that the Iron Dome couldn't keep up. So that's why there were so many more casualties compared to other times Hamas had launched rockets. I hope you guys will go and check out that video about the Iron Dome. One last note on the Iron Dome. So, uh, the Iron Dome is really good in all weather, right? But each rocket costs like $100,000 to $150,000 US dollars. So it gets expensive, especially when Hamas has up to 30,000 projectiles, you know. Um, so Israel decided to start development on energy weapons, so lasers. Um, and they're actually being deployed now. And each laser shot only costs $1 US. That's crazy. So you either spend a little bit more money on the system itself, and each shot only costs $1, or you spend 100,000 per intercept. There are some drawbacks with they're calling it Iron Beam. So there are some drawbacks with Iron Beam. The range is much shorter, like 9 miles or something. I'd have to look it up. It's much shorter, and it doesn't work as well with like fog or anything that can break up the light, rain, things like that. Alright, moving on. We're almost done with Israel here. Targeting an Israeli army military point in the Al-Manara settlement opposite Mays al-Jabal. I'm not even sure what that means. Okay, Hamas al-Qassam claimed responsibility for the launch of 30 rockets towards northern Israel from Lebanon. Initial report of projectile impact in Kiryat Shmanoah, northern Israel. A bombing from Lebanese territory targeted a 9-story house in Kiryat Shmona. So that would, if it hit the house, could be substantial casualties. Alright, and doesn't look like anything's happening in the West Bank. Prime Minister of Lebanon, contacts are continuing with several countries to stop Israel's provocations. So Lebanon's in talks with Iran, Iraq, all the Muslim countries to go against Israel, basically. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so here we are in Ukraine. There's not a lot that has changed from my last update. Russian Ministry of Defense says Su-27 intercepted British RC-135 reconnaissance aircraft and 2 Typhoon fighter jets over the Black Sea. So that's just more Russia beating its chest. They see countries in the Black Sea AO, like the United States, the Western European countries, and they have to make a show of intercepting. Let's see. So here in Berdyansk, this is where I made a video about it. Let me look real quick. Well, I can't think of the dang. Oh, the ATACMS. That's what I was trying to think of. So, yesterday, parts of an ATACMS missile was found in the Berdyansk area. Now look how far behind the line that is. Do I have a measuring tool? So that's 80 miles. I'm pretty sure that's... Let's take a look here. Yahoo. 300 kilometers. The parts of an ATACMS missile were found in Berdyansk, around that area. It's not showing it now because it's old news, but that's a big deal because they have a much longer range. And it was actually a hard line for Russia a month ago or whenever. They said that if the U.S. sent ATACMS, that Russia would use nukes or whatever. Um, and obviously they didn't because we did use them, or we did send them to Ukraine, and they have been in use. And then, but it was secretly sent, these first few. But when the pictures came out, the U.S. said, yeah, we just sent a few, and there's more on the way. So that was pretty interesting. Explosion reported in Mykolaiv region. So that's quite a ways behind the front in Ukraine territory. Kherson direction, Russian army shelled multiple cities. Russian aviation conducted airstrikes in the Kherson region. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine says in the evening report. Air defense shot down aerial target near Kryvyi Rih. Guys, I'm trying to get the better version of these war maps. So there's a paid version, and for some reason it's not accepting my payment. But once I get that, we'll have a lot more information. So that's something to look forward to. Ukraine has made some big headway in some assaults the last few days. Kyiv makes breakthrough on Dnipro River as Moscow warns of grave mistakes, and this is reported by the Independent. A prominent Russian mill blogger, Rybar, claimed Ukrainian troops pushed through Russian defenses as they landed on the east bank of the Dnipro. He claimed they temporarily occupied the village of Poima and positions north of the outskirts of Pishchanivka on the afternoon of October 17th. Institute of War, the mill blogger later claimed that Russian forces pushed Ukraine forces back from these positions toward the Dnipro. He also claimed that a Ukrainian sabotage group is still operating in that area as of the afternoon of October 18th. It comes as Ukraine Defense Forces made first use of a U.S. supplied long-range weapon by striking 2 Russian military airfields, successfully destroying 9 helicopters and an ammunition base. So that's where they're talking about the ATACMS. Russia's ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Antonov, described Washington's decision to supply ATACMS as reckless and a grave mistake that would not alter the war's outcome. Which is kind of crazy. How would it not affect the war's outcome? So, what that article was talking about, so here's the Dnipro. They pushed across. I'm not sure exactly where. I'll have to look harder into it, but we're going to move on for now. Ukrainian military had 70 combat engagements with Russian forces along the front. Russian direction, Kupiansk direction, Russian army shelled multiple cities, and Russia conducted more airstrikes. That's really all I've got at the moment. Anyway, guys, I know these can be rough. I'm learning and trying to make it smoother. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you could like and subscribe, it would mean a lot, really. So, anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for coming. Bye.